Halloween
Forever.
Everybody, please stand once again, as we always do every week without exception. Stand and proclaim the Sunnyvale Oath. Repeat after me. Sometimes it goes, sometimes it don't go. That's just the way it goes. Welcome, boils and ghouls, to a straight up mediocre minisode of Halloween is Forever. I'm Brian.
Mids. I'm Steve.
I don't remember if we talked about it on the. I know we talked about Sunnyvale and how we're confused about Sunnyvale being, bougie in this series, but I do remember that we did what we affectionately refer to as the Sunnyvale Oath on one episode at one point. I'm just going to make it in every, just no context, just make it in every episode thing from here on out because it's words to live by.
Yeah.
Right? And this movie is a testament to that very mantra. Sometimes she goes, sometimes she don't go.
Yep.
But just the way she goes.
Just the way she goes.
In the wise world, in the wise words of Ricky's dad, we are talking about from this very year 20 and 25. We're talking about the newest installment of the Netflix horror. I don't even know what to call it. It's a full on franchise at this point. We're talking about Fear Street: Prom Queen. We talked about the first three installments of the Fear Street franchise. If you'll recall, this was, this had to be 2021, probably.
It was early.
When we talked about these before. Yeah, when we talked about these, I think that's when they came out. In the summer of 2021, we did all three of them damn movies. We talked about, I think they came out like consecutive weeks or something like that on the Netflixes. And then just for some damn weird reason, they just took 4 years off, decided to bring them all back. But these are, and I don't know how accurately, but based ultimately on the YA horror novel series by one Mr. Randall L. Stein. I don't know if the R stands for Randall. I'm not really sure. I'm going to assume it does.
Actually, it just stands for R. It's the L that stands for Landell.
It's R. Landell Stein. Got it. Yeah, of course, very famous for certainly the Fear Street YA novels, but even more so the spooky kids books Goosebumps, which got so many of us hooked on spooky hooky shit way back in the 90s. So these are based on that. I don't know that we ever delve too terribly deep into this, Steve, and correct me. I maybe made us just smoke that portion of my brain right out of existence, but I don't think we got into a super deep discussion about how true to these books these installments are, did we?
No, because I never really read them because I graduated right from Goosebumps to Stephen King. So, and I think, I don't know, when did he start publishing the Fear Street? Because I remember there were a couple available at the Scholastic Book Fair trademark. But I don't remember a lot of them being available when I was in school.
Yeah, I don't either. And honestly, if I think about it, I think the reason that I held on to the Goosebumps and didn't jump into the Fear Street is on account of I like all them supernatural spookies and nookies. You know what I mean? I like give me a damn old werewolf. You know, give me a motherfucking abominable snowman of Pasadena. You know what I mean? I want a talking dummy. I don't want just old serial killers, angsty serial killers. At least not them.
Give me the dang old monster blood.
Anyway,
what a monster blood at?
Yeah, give me a terrifying mask that adheres to your face. Give me aliens that make you trick or treat forever. That's what I want to see. Anyway, we got some things we got to do at the top of the show, but one more caveat here. Something I'm particularly excited about. speaking of Stephen King, also a big Stephen King fan, I'm finally reading Dr. Sleep. It's good.
It's good? You like?
That's a good-ass book. And I like the movie. And this is one of the, not uncommon occurrences where I did see the movie before I read the book. But I've read a whole bunch of Stephen King books. I love The Shining, perhaps my favorite one. But I'm probably going to say a third of the way through Dr. Sleep. Boy, howdy. I like the movie. I thought I liked the movie. Dang, this book's good. And that's come from someone who really fucking loves The Shining. Anyway, guys, if you've been holding off, go after that little book reco corner here on the Minisode. Before we get into this newest installment of the Fear Street franchise, we got some shit we got to do at the top of the show, an abnormal amount of shit. So let's get into it. Steven, are you sipping on a beer over there on this fine Memorial Day weekend?
I got a beer, and it's a beer
what you got?
From Great Divide called their White Russian Yeti. So it's one of those beers that used to come in a stovepipe, but now they putting them in the little can. But yeah, it's a 9.5 Imperial Stout with vanilla and coffee. I'm not getting a whole lot of the other two. I'm getting stout. I'm not getting a lot of vanilla or coffee.
Is this one of those sitting on the shelves at the haunted Giant Eagle that you go to, and it's super old? We're doing a quick date check here, guys. Let's see.
It was canned in January, so not super old
for a big old stout. That's might as well be dang fresh for a big old stout. Boy, you might be the only human on earth that goes, ooh, Memorial Day weekend, beer drinking time, coffee, vanilla, Imperial Stout.
Hell yeah. I do like a White Russian just in general as a go-to cocktail.
Sure.
So I was like,
it's a good cocktail.
Hey, a little can. I didn't get this from the Haunted Giant Eagle. This was actually a JR's pickup. So I did a JR's stop for Memorial Day weekend, and
sometimes you got to do it.
And I saw that sitting in the mix and match, and I said, hell yeah, buddy. I didn't know they were putting these in the little cans now. I'm too old to be drinking stovepipes of Yeti, but I'll take a little guy Yeti.
A stovepipe of Yeti. I can't even imagine. I have gotten to the point where if I drink a full bottle of some sort of big high ABV beer, immediate headache. I drank a bottle of 2023, maybe it was 2022, Norwal, which is one of my favorite beers. Earlier this week, I want to say it was Tuesday night or something like that, immediate headache. And I don't know if it's just because I'm always on the verge of dehydration, but just those high ABV beers, boy, they just give me headache. I'm probably going to get headache from this one. It's only 7.5%. I am doing a little blast from the past here. A beer that I've drank a tremendous amount of in my life, but in recent years, I have not drank a ton of it, and I don't know why. Probably because I'm kind of not really on the IPA train very much in recent years, but this is just one of the creme de la creme as far as West Coast style IPAs are concerned. This is, I think, a multiple-time GABF medal winner, World Beer Cup winner, all that stuff. Headhunter from Fatheads.
Yeah.
Headhunter IPA. I'm working back through that IPA variety pack I was saying that I picked up. It's very out of character for me. Now, just in case you're worried that I'm going through some sort of midlife crisis and you're going, what the hell's wrong? What's this guy think he's doing drinking IPAs? I got a Summerfest on deck.
Good for you.
Right here. So I got a Pilsner. And then I also got this here Milk High Life on deck because I'm going to drink this 7.5% beer and then I'm going to go, give me some lager. I need some lager in my system to offset these hops are upsetting my tummy because I'm fragile old man.
You need to rehydrate, like you said, you're always on the cusp of dehydration and now you got to go work backwards. Got to get that MGD in your system.
Damn, that isn't such a nice fucking beer though. Headhunter, fresh, fuck. That beer fucks. There's nothing else. You can't say anything else about it. That beer fucks. Always had, always will. A couple other things we got to do at the top of the show. I'll remind everyone once again, because I've been doing a terrible job of it lately. we not only do we want you to go follow us on the social medias at Halloween is Forever on any various social media platform that you want to find us on, go check us out over there. Or if you want to send us one of them old-fashioned emails at halloweenisforeverpod@gmail.com. The other thing that you might want to consider doing is going over to your podcatcher app. Maybe it's your Apple Podcast, maybe it's your Spotify's, maybe it's your Pandora, maybe it's your Stitcher or something. I don't know. There's other ones. If you go on there and you scroll down and it says rate this here podcast, if you give us the maximum number of reviews and then write a little review and it just says like, hey, these guys, all right, something like that. If you do that, you could slide in the old DMs and I'll send you a fucking bunch of stickers in the mail. How do you feel about that? I haven't asked for that in quite a while, but as we cruise on into summer, that means we are in pre-spooky season. So I'm sure we'll have some new listeners joining us in the coming months. So I figured I should probably mention that, more than one time a year. Also, Steve, do you want to let's do a little Patreon update. Let the folks know what we did already. This is our second time recording this weekend. Good God Almighty, we've been busy. Tell them what's going on over at the Patreon. Speaking of recording, before we get into our picks for the showdown.
Yes, go over to patreon.com/HalloweenIsForever and you can get all the fun things that you can get from us as an extra little bonus to your life, an improvement.
Porn. Drugs.
Could be.
Feet pics.
Yes.
Anything you want, it's over there on the Patreon.
It's like, I don't know, maybe if you ask it and request
illegal gambling. Illegal gambling.
I'm needing.
We'll make it work. It's anything goes over on the Patreon. It's kind of like that episode of It's Always Sunny with Frank in the basement and anything goes in the basement and they're all down there playing Russian roulette and stuff. That's kind of what the Patreon's like.
That's what the Patreon's
we're gambling
about.
with feet pics. Yeah.
I don't know that there's any such thing as illegal gambling anymore. The fact that it's just...
That's true. Pretty much all gambling's legal.
Yeah, the fact that it's just advertised everywhere. You carry around a gambling machine in your pocket. I see gambling machines in grocery stores and gas stations. There's no such thing as illegal gambling anymore. Can't be.
It is really funny how prevalent gambling has become in the last few months. Have you seen these videos of these kids on the social medias that go and gamble on the internet connected touchscreens on appliances at the appliance store?
No, I haven't
It's
gotten to that
hilarious. There's these kids, because kids are full on addicted to gambling now. I can't tell you how many people I've heard that are 10, 20 years younger than me. I broke up with my boyfriend. He was addicted to gambling. It's the most prevalent addiction amongst Gen Xers, way more than the booze and the drugs. It's fucking gambling, dude. It's it's an epidemic.
You mean
but
Gen
it's pretty
Z.
funny
you
to
mean
see
Gen
these,
Z.
These
Gen X is older than us.
Gen Z. Yeah, sorry, I meant Gen Z. I meant to say Gen Z. It's hilarious though. These degens, literally, there's these kids on Instagram, and there's a really fancy refrigerator at I don't know. It looks like they're in a fucking Best Buy. Yeah. I don't know what it is, but it's like a $3,500 refrigerator, and they go in and they're gonna gamble on the touchscreen. They sign into their online blackjack on the refrigerator touchscrreen, and they're trying to bet to make enough money to buy the said refrigerator.
Gotcha. Okay.
It's hilarious. Yeah, it's hilarious.
I saw one that was kind of similar. It's this guy who he alternates videos. He does one video of fighting his fans in public, and the other...
I did see the guy who just fights his fans. Sometimes he just gets fucking knocked out, with boxing gloves on. Yeah. He does have boxing gloves at least.
But his alternate video, when he's not getting punched by randos in public, he just goes onto any computer. I think I saw him just log into a computer in a bar and gamble until he tried to win his rent. Just a couple hands. So it might be the same dude we're watching anyway. But
it's so funny to have this new generation thinking that they're not only are they going to beat the house, but the virtual gambling house. You know what I mean? you are statistically going to lose. Everyone loses. And they're like, all I got to do is just be really good at blackjack. You're like, no. People have been doing this for hundreds of years, sir.
Yeah.
You are cooked.
Yeah. Video blackjack is insane to play. Like, at least, and I think it's like maybe 6-1, but like real blackjack is the only one that you have a good chance of actually winning in real life.
It's like the highest in the casino, they always say. Yeah.
Video blackjack, you can't keep track of anything. You don't know how many fucking cards they're working with in the shoe or anything. They're just like, try your best. Let's see what we do.
These kids, they're done. Yeah. Anyway.
So yeah, the illegal.
Yeah, we got all that. We got all that on the Patreon. Go check it out.
Illegal gambling isn't real. And then the second point I wanted to make is I'll open up a new tier of drawing pornography. If you need me to, I'll draw you pornography.
Nice. Like Garfield with big old milkers,
or a big old dick. It doesn't matter. I'll draw whatever.
Both. But
just be aware, I can't draw.
And sexy ladies' feet. I'm really into feet stuff today. But also, the real things that are on the podcast or on the Patreon, we just recorded our third installment in our most recent Patreon exclusive podcast series, which of course is 90s Forever. We're talking about forgotten 90s comedy movies that have horror ties. We already did all the weird right-wing Christian propaganda horror movies. We already did all the Fast and the Furious movies. Now we're on to these weird-ass 90s movies. And Steve, I don't know if you want to tease it any more than this, but I'll just throw out that the one we just recorded on Friday that I just watched is top 10 most unwatchable films I've ever seen.
Yeah.
I mean, this is like, it's not fish piss, but it's like, it's one of the most incoherent movies I've ever seen.
The thing about Fish Piss is it's obviously just two dudes who have like no money and a lot of gas to huff making a movie.
Yeah.
Whereas the movie we watched, and we've talked about it before on other episodes, but we watched National Lampoon's Last Resort starring the Coreys. And the thing is, it has all of those kind of recognizable names of National Lampoon and the Coreys. And you go, wow, there was like time and money and like people thought they had like a vehicle on their hands of some sort. And they hired one of those screwball sex comedy directors. And it became one of the most loud, headache inducing movies I've ever seen. That is just, it's not funny and it's horny. It's horny in a way that like only a 10-year-old could appreciate.
Yeah, it's horny like it's a live action movie, but I still fully expected at one point for one of the Corey's eyes to bug out of their head, their tongue to unravel, turn into stairs, like stairs you walk up and down, and just augas. They literally have, I think, augas.
They have augas.
Yeah, and it is, it's beyond bizarre. And if the opening credits do not give you seizures, the whole rest of the movie will. It's fucking insane.
Yeah. So Dan in the chat, who you get to be a part of the chat if you are on the Patreon. Dan in the chat points out the movie is constructed of time, money, and cocaine. And that's one of the major themes through these 90s is Forever films is they all seem to be a little bit cocaine fueled. And people talk about how the 80s, those films were fueled with cocaine, but those movies turned out good. And the 90s, I feel like, is when the wheels started to fall off. And that's when everybody realized they started to have to go to rehab because they weren't making good movies no more. The only person who was still coke fueled making good movies was Don Simpson. Like that dude was yacked.
It's like you take those same elements that Dan mentioned that are, inherently there in the 80s movies of the 80s, but then add this like 90s faux apathy. You know, like add the mentality of Daria, not the show, the character, into, but also have them high on cocaine and have too much time and money on their hands, and that's when you get this.
Yeah. This is Gen X, Brian. This is the apathy. You know, the apathy of Gen X did not mix with cocaine because it made them think things and feel thoughts, but they didn't actually have any thoughts or feelings. Because as we learned later in life, they were all lead poisoned. They had horrible brain damage. Yeah, it was a generational poisoning of, you know, just silly brained people that just skated by, and they thought like, oh, nobody likes us, nobody's paying attention to us. And then we realized why nobody paid attention to them, because they had a bunch of stupid thoughts that fell out of their head. There was a whole bunch of
it was just like, for some reason, I imagine just every Gen X, and I'm sure we have Gen X listeners out here. Sure. So I want to say that this is true, and you can't argue with it. I just picture the entire cast of PCU with brain damage. Yeah. That is what I picture when I think Gen X.
Just think about all the people in that movie and what they turned out to be, and it's like, Jeremy Piven's like an annoying sex pest. David Spade is he's obnoxious in his own right. Jon Favreau might be the only one who came out of that like halfway okay, because he just directs Disney now. So
yeah. This movie is bonkers, absolutely fucking unwatchable. You can watch it beforehand if you want to. I would urge you don't, but it is fun to hear us make fun of it. And just talk about how shitty it is and how everybody should be ashamed of themselves who are responsible for making it. So slide on over to the patreon.com/Halloween's Forever. Give us a couple 2-tree paper monies a month, and you can join. You can go over and listen to a fucking 100 extra hours of shit we got going on over there. All right, let us get into our last bit of duty before we get into this movie. Believe it or not, we are right on the edge of May. We're on the precipice of June. This being, of course, Memorial Day weekend. So coming up very, very soon, we got our showdown episode for the lovely month of June. That's actually going to be, well, the episode right after this. If you've been following along at home, if you've been voting along on the social medias, you know that our voted on topic for the month of June, the winning topic, was Korean horror. We have done some Korean horror in the past, not this topic, but we've done Korean horror that fell under other topics. So, of course, those movies are off the table. We talked about The Wailing was one, The Host, also a couple of heavy hitters. I'm imagining one more, and Steve says I'm full of shit, but I swear there was one more. Anyway, those are off the table, but we're going to pick Korean horror for this month, or I'm sorry, for this upcoming showdown. So that said, I know Steve and I are on the fence. We've got a couple other ones going on out there. Steve, do we have a Patreon/guest pick?
We don't have a patron/guest pick yet. So
okay,
it's going to wind up being third to what we decide.
Okay, fair enough. All right, I'm going to let you go first because I won the last showdown, and of course, to the victor go the spoils. So I am going to insist, sir, that you go first, and then I will go second because I'm going to pivot based on what you pick because I've got about 4 I'm thinking about still.
Okay. So the one that we were talking about that wasn't picked, that you thought, that I think you think we talked about, was Exuma.
The one, Exuma. No, that wasn't it. But okay. You did think that I thought that you thought that I thought.
I thought that's the one that you was talking about.
I thought that was it.
I thought that was the one that you was talking, because we did talk about doing that as an episode, but we never did it.
No, I like that movie.
Okay.
I like that movie, but I think honestly, what I was probably thinking about was what was actually a Taiwanese movie, which was The Sadness. I think that's what
that's definitely Taiwanese. So, yep.
Yeah.
As directed by a Canadian.
It just occurred. Yeah, it just occurred to me that that's probably what I was imagining.
Yeah. So Dan in the chat brings up one of the ones that I'm on the fence about, and he brings up A Tale of Two Sisters. And
that's a good one. That's on my list as well.
It's a good one, and I am flip a coin on the fence about it, just because I know how good it is. But there's another movie that just has a personal ring for me, just because I remember it being one of the first like weird Korean horrors to kind of get into my space. And they both actually came out in 2003. I just didn't see A Tale of Two Sisters until much later. So the other film I'm thinking of, and this one's also a little less horror as well, so I might not go with it, is...
I know what you're thinking already.
Save the Green Planet.
This is on my list.
Save the Green Planet.
Yep.
Yeah.
This is why I didn't pick it. I've never seen it, but I've heard such wonderful things, and people always suggest it to me. I can't it's so hard to find.
Yeah, that's
and I know if I went out on various, illegal sites and stuff, I could probably find it, but I literally have not been able to find it. You can get it on like Canopy if you have a library card, or you're a student. I don't know. I haven't had a library card in a while. I did once upon a time. I don't know where it is. But I've been wanting to watch this. This has been on my letterbox to watch for like years. I still haven't seen it.
Yeah, it's such a wild and silly movie that kind of goes all over the place. And that's why I like it. And I feel like I like it a little bit more than A Tale of Two Sisters. And I just don't remember how good it is. Like, it's all nostalgia brain for me at this moment.
Sure.
Yeah, I'm gonna go Save the Green Planet. That was my first instinct, and it's such a wild movie. It's like, it's funny, and it has aliens. We don't talk enough about aliens in this. We do a lot of ghosts and we do a lot of demons.
Yeah,
we don't do enough aliens.
Sure. I like an alien. Yeah, I like an alien. Yeah, okay. That was one of my ones that I was thinking about picking, but I didn't get a chance to watch it because, like I said, I just couldn't track it down. I was literally looking online to like, hey, can I get a DVD of it delivered to me in reasonable time? And that's even kind of hard to find as well, unless you want to spend a lot of money. But all right, so that was on my list. Here's my other two that are on the list. Tale of Two Sisters, although is very good. I feel like, and I didn't know whether we're going to have a patron. I don't know if we were going to have a guest for next month. It's a slow burn. I mean, there's no two ways about it. That movie is slow. Great ending, very emotionally charged, all that stuff. I don't know if it's everyone's cup of tea because of how slow it is. I'm okay with slow. Not everyone's okay with slow. I have two other ones. Here are my other two. I Saw the Devil.
Yeah.
Which is great. And a lot of people will know that. That is certainly amongst the heavy hitters with The Wailing and The Host in terms of like most notable Korean horror films, certainly of the last, 20, 25 years. The other one is a little bit quirkier, but I really, really like it too. It's from 2009. Little vampire flick called Thirst. I don't know if you saw that, but it is, I believe. Let me look. Let me make sure I have this right before I go shooting my mouth off.
I have seen it. I think I have to remind myself about the movie. But it is...
Yeah, so this is Park Chan-wook. He is also the director of Old Boy. Two of my favorite foreign films, two of my favorite films in general, but neither are really horror, so I kind of took them off the table for myself, which is Old Boy and Lady Vengeance, which are both really more...
Those are like
thriller
action.
revenge thriller movies than they are pure horror. So I wasn't thinking about those, but he directed both of those movies, and this is his more pure horror endeavor, which is Thirst. So knowing that you're going a little bit out on a limb and going with something a little kookier, I'm going to go with something a little out on a limb and a little kookier, because everyone's seen what was my
I Saw the Devil.
I already forgot what I Saw the Devil. Yeah, everyone's seen I Saw the Devil. If you've seen Korean horror, you've seen The Wailing, I Saw the Devil, The Host. Those are probably the three you've seen.
Yeah.
So I'm actually going to go with Thirst and go with a little off kilter pick.
Yeah, that's not bad. I don't know. I think that's probably the right choice, because even though I love I Saw the Devil, it's 2 hours and 10 minutes. It's
long. Yeah, I'd be lying, but you know what? So is Thirst. Yeah. Thirst is like same length.
Yeah, okay. So yeah, I don't think I actually have seen Thirst. Just looking at the trailer and some of the images, they're not clicking with me. So I think I'm thinking of a different movie. But yeah, I Saw the Devil is pretty long, and I don't want to say it hinges on its ending, but its ending has a bigger punch when you haven't seen it before. So
yes. Yep. And this is Park Chan-wook. All of his movies are 2 hours plus. Or 2 hours ish at least. Mm-hmm. Like I'm looking through Old Boy's over 2 hours. Lady Vengeance is just a hair below 2 hours. Well, this is the only one I haven't seen on this list is Stoker. I don't know what that is, but that one is a little bit more of a typical. Has Mia Wasikowska in it, which she's a pretty lady. She that's a real creepy way of saying that.
She's a pretty lady.
She's a fox. But all of his movies tend to have a little bit longer on time, but they're paced so well, and it's fun. You're gonna like it if you haven't seen it.
Sure. I'm sure I'll like it, because I do like the rest of his films. Save the Green Planet is also 2 hours, so.
Okay. All right. You got to tell me where I can fucking find this movie as well.
That one might be.
I'm sure I can find. Maybe.
I was looking myself just now, and it seems like it's only Canopy, so it might be a little bit of a fire up the old VPN situation.
Yeah, perhaps. Kate has her library card handy. I'm sure we could do it that way. Anyway, we'll figure it out. That's a tomorrow Brian's problem after all these beers. So once again, we are going to be talking about Korean horror. Steve's going to be talking about Save the Green Planet from 2003. I'm going to talk about Thirst from 2009. And then the Patreons, we're not quite sure yet, but you might be, if you're one of them people who like to watch all the movies ahead of the showdown, you might want to sneak on in there and see Tale of Two Sisters if you haven't already, which is right around the same time, right? Tale of Two Sisters, like 2010-ish?
It's like 2003, 2004.
Oh, is it earlier than that?
Yeah.
Okay.
Good,
yeah. So we're all in the first decade of the 2000s, which is kind of a fun coincidence. Okay. Now, let us go ahead and get into a discussion of Fear Street Prom Queen. I'll be honest with you. It was not on my radar that they were bringing this back. I know that they left it on a little bit of a open to do more of them, but weird to. I mean, I think the first ones were probably shot before the pandemic and then released during the pandemic, early stages of the pandemic, and then to just randomly wait 4 years later and release one that's loosely tied. You know what I mean? Yeah. The whole universe is loosely tied together. But as we talked about, the towns of Sunnyvale and Shadyside, which is confusing to us for a couple of reasons we've talked about 4 years ago, which is Shadyside is a historically, somewhat affluent neighborhood of Pittsburgh, and Shadyside is the slums in this. And Sunnyvale, when I think Sunnyvale Trailer
Absolutely.
Park from Trailer Park Boys, which is of course anything but affluent.
Yeah.
So it gets me all confused.
We're all turned around. our gentrified crackers
all mixed up.
Our gentrified crackers are in the wrong spot.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, so we got the idea of this two areas of the town. The high schools have like come together. So you've got, the affluent, it's a bit of a Pawnee Eagleton situation as well for you Parks and Recs fans out there. The characters here, the main protagonist is Lori Granger. And we had some information about were the Granger family and any of the other ones before this? I can't remember. There's a lot of stuff about like, different families and their history in these towns and all that stuff. I can't remember. I don't think there was anything about the Grangers in the previous ones, but similar themes, perhaps affecting different families. But we've got this. So it's set in 1988. So we went from 1994 to 78 or something, and then back to like the 1600s in the previous one.
Yeah.
And then we slapped this right into 1988, which feels weird. Like it feels like, guys, aren't we a little bit on the? And listen, you never hear me complaining. We got goddamn Billy Idol. We got some great 80s fucking jams, some bangers, some radio bangers on this, which I do remember talking about now before the first three movies. These are perhaps some of the most like needle droppy movies in the history ever made. Every 5 seconds is a needle drop. Like half of the fucking budget went to music royalties, I think, for this thing. But I was I'm like, aren't we on the downslope of setting everything in the 80s?
I feel
we have to be.
Yeah, because I was totally fatigued with watching this again and hearing all the same needle drops. I was done with it. I was like, oh, this is too much. And then just thinking about how dumbass Netflix still has to release Stranger Things season 5, and I'm just like, I'm done with all of it. I don't want to. I don't. I'm tired with the 80s. Let's stop doing the 80s, especially this kind of faux neon zap around 80s. And it's like, who gives this shit?
Yeah, I mean, this does feel very 6 years ago in a weird way. And it just feels like this should have been released 5-6 years ago. I feel like a lot of this stuff is done by now, but they're sticking with it. So it seems a little dated in that way. But we have these similar high school tropes. We got the group of the popular, pretty mean girl high school girls. And it really almost is like a straight up mean girl type scenario where you have like the queen bee, you've got like the kind. Now they give them a little bit more faculty, but there's like the queen bee, there's like the gossiper, kind of like running static for her. You've got like
the hype man,
the hype man, the dumb, the one who's kind of dumb that will just do whatever she says. Then the other one who's like smart and does all her homework for her. But the main antagonist is Tiffany Falconer, and the Falconer family are like affluent, and she's obviously like the front runner for prom queen, and she's the queen bee in the little bitchy clique in the high school. And then Lori Granger is kind of the dark horse candidate for prom queen. And then we have another woman. I think her name was Christy, the like badass one.
Yeah.
Christy's like the dark horse. Well, no, she's not. She's more of the like rebel outsider badass, sells weed and, smokes and fucks and parties and all that stuff. And she's also up for prom queen, but she's kind of the anti-establishment, kind of candidate, I guess. And then a couple other people we should call out. We have the rest of the Falconer family, Nancy Falconer, and then Dan Falconer, her dad, who's played by Chris Klein, who Chris Klein, I know him from a movie that comes up way too often on this podcast. He plays Dusty Dinkelman on 2005 holiday romp Just Friends. This is now 2 episodes in a row that I've talked about Just Friends, and maybe the 4th episode overall. But he's fucking hilarious in that movie. I'm not going to say turns in a particularly strong performance in this movie.
Well,
but he is in it.
He has 2 scenes, and I didn't recognize him. Which
really?
Yeah.
See, I did, but just again because I watched that movie every year. And Dusty Dinkelman is such a character. It's a character that like my wife and I quote around the house on a regular basis.
Yeah. See, I remember him from Election and Rollerball, just because Rollerball was such a weird 2002 type film where they took an old movie and remade it, and they remade it fucking terrible. And Slipknot was in it, and I watched that and I was like, this might have been the worst movie I've ever seen, and Slipknot is the best part of it, is what I would have said at the time.
Yikes.
Also, LL Cool J's in it, so he was coming off deep. I think he was coming off Deep Blue Sea, and just like, I'm going to do Rollerball.
Here's how you can tell whether he was coming off a Deep Blue Sea. Was his hat like a shark's fin?
He had a helmet. You had to wear helmets at Rollerball, man. It's a dangerous sport.
He was. Yeah, I'm just thinking if he was deeper bluer and his hat was like a shark's fin, then that would have been a dead giveaway. Anyway, so this is kind of what we have going on here. He, by the way, he's the dad of the the queen bitch, but also is a teacher at their school. Lastly, I should mention Megan. She is the like a gothy horror nerd that is Laurie's best friend.
Yeah,
and a little bit of like social kryptonite too, a little bit for Laurie, but she's like loyal to her. She's her best friend, but she's like, she's eccentric. She pretends to cut her hand off in like the opening scene in the school. It's pretty wild.
Let me ask you this. Did you think at any point they were casting a red herring on her as being the killer with, one, like you just mentioned, she's into horror special effects makeup. So she could have been a co-conspirator that made like an effect to throw off somebody. But also she has this, maybe I read into it too much, but it feels like she has this unrequited love thing going on with Laurie.
They set that up early, and it was 100% intentional. So they were trying to do a red herring thing, but also this movie could be called Fear Street, Prom Queen, parentheses, red herrings. Like it's set up so there's a character that's a creepy janitor that they show about 20 times just so you can go, I know who it is. It's the janitor. Of course, the janitor never has anything, janitor. He just shows up in the background and makes a creepy face a few times. They set up the principals, both the principal and assistant principal, as red herrings. That one of them super religious and her. Then they set up her son who goes to the school as a red herring. Like they literally have about 8 irons in the fire here as far as red herrings are concerned. So it does feel very Giallo whodunit, and I'm sure if you talk to the director, which we didn't talk about, this is directed by Matt Palmer, who did not direct any of the other Fear Street movies, by the way. He directed Caliber from 2018, which looks very familiar, but I don't know if I saw it. It was also on Netflix. 2014 short film called Gas Man, and then another short film from 2006. So this is really, he did that Caliber movie in 2018, for Netflix, wrote and directed it, and then this is like his second work, really second feature film, and both, you know, written and directed by him and produced by Netflix. So, but getting back to why I brought him up is, you could tell this is a very giallo influenced. It's like they're trying to make an 80s teen slasher, which of course the Fear Street books, I believe, were very much, that's what it was supposed to be, like a teen slashers for teens. But there's a big giallo element here, not just the masked killer, but also the like slicker jacket. It just feels very giallo. You know what I mean?
Even the director himself has come out and said, like, he was very much inspired by the film Alice, Sweet Alice. That's where the rain slicker comes from and everything. Even though that, you know, the killer in that is wearing like a baby face mask and a yellow rain jacket, it's still the same thing. He wanted a cool, stunning visual to put out there, a memorable killer.
Yeah, it couldn't be less memorable. That's the thing, is like really, really failed miserably in that department, because the mask is just a super generic, like it looks like it's made of like, almost looks like it's made of like marble or something, but it's like a person mask, right? Let me bring up a picture of it so I can better describe it.
It looks like something that would have been in the scene of Scream 2, where they're putting on the play that everybody's harassing Sydney in the play, and they're wearing kind of the stone choir masks in whatever Greek tragedy they're putting on in Scream 2. I forget. I was
going to say this feels like some sort of Greek tragedy was exactly what I was going to say. But yes, I forgot about that scene. That's what it looks like. It looks like a Greek like bronze mask, but it's a little bit more like, but it looks like it's that of like a really old person or something. Yeah. Like it's got a lot of creases and wrinkles in it and stuff like that. And then you get the red rain slicker, and it's just like, I don't know. Did that do anything for you? For me, I was just like, yeah, I already forget what he looks like.
It didn't do anything for me. And then, like, especially with the way it ends and the reveal of the killer and why the killers were doing it.
Yeah, spoiler alert. We're going to spoil. This is a new movie, so we probably should say, like, we're going to spoil the hell out of it. So, do with that information what you will, but
do what you want. But there's more than one killer, and the reveal falls flat, and it feels like, well, whatever. And I don't particularly care. Like, it feels like we'll never see this killer again. And it just doesn't, I don't know. It doesn't have the punch. It misses the punch. Like all the red herrings we talked about feel, with the exception of Megan, I was still like, okay, maybe she's in on it somehow or some, because she was the only one that had any kind of real motivation of being like an unrequited love, and her motivation to kill everybody else to give Laurie the happy ending is like a thing that would happen in a giallo film. But
sure,
everybody else, Lily Taylor as the religious principal, she never comes off as like Marcia Gay Harden's character in The Mist. So you never really believe.
Yeah. Oh, I didn't even realize that was Lily Taylor. Yeah. I didn't even make the connection.
Yeah. But yeah, you never feel like she has that kind of evil in her. She just wears a cross. So you're supposed to be sus of her, I guess. And her son gets bullied a little bit.
And also, yeah. Yeah, he was a weak red herring. But also, like, the other Clique girls, which is called the Wolf Pack, by the way, is the Clique. There's a couple of them that survive till later on that you're also set up to think like, oh, maybe it's them, right? Specifically, like the one kind of brainy one. Anyway, that's not what happens. The Wolf Pack is kind of mean girls. You've got your Gretchen Wiener, and you've got your oh God, I don't even remember what the fucking other ones are. Like, it's very much that type of dynamic to the group. We learn pretty early on about the Granger family's past. Lori's mom is a cop. Her dad's dead. Her dad was murdered, and the whole town thinks it was the mom who did it. But she was never convicted of anything, and the Granger family are definitely of a lower socioeconomic status than the other girls in the wolf pack, and they're constantly like tormenting her about your mom's fucking crazy, the Grangers are all crazy, your mom killed your dad, blah 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 blah. They are the fucking janitor is the funniest red herring ever. It's so transparent what they're trying to do. And I almost would have liked this movie more if they just would have made it be the janitor, because the janitor, there's a scene where they're at the movie theater and he's just like sitting behind him, like at the movie theater. You're just like, what is that dude doing? And then like, he's always just like giving people scary eyes. He does literally nothing else in the movie. So he's the most transparent red herring ever, but I would kind of like it if they were just like, no, fuck you, it's him.
It would have been
double twist.
I would have accepted it if it was like he was getting paid. So, okay, let's just spoil who the killers are and what the ending is, because I just wanted to talk about better ways this movie could have gone. That's all I want to do. I just want to talk about better ways. So the ending is that the Falconer parents were the killers and the rain slickers, killing everybody so their daughter could win prom queen, as if that ever fucking mattered ever in the world. And they also wanted to get a little bit of revenge on Lori, because Lori's mom fucked Tiffany's dad and took her, and that it's just super old petty business. And so I think it would have been awesome if it was the Falconers paying the janitor.
That would have been better than it being them, because it's also like very clearly the same. Well, I don't know, maybe not, but I the whole time I'm like, well, it's probably two killers, you know what I mean? Or it's like a whole cabal of people or something, you know what I mean? So I couldn't have been less surprised when it was two killers, but if it was like the second one was, somebody unrelated, but was just getting paid, just flat out, like we're paying them to murder people, it honestly probably would have been better than what ended up happening. I
think the ending twist when they reveal, because they show you, this is how the movie doesn't, I don't know, the movie kind of falls on its ass in a lot of ways, but in the movie, before we get to the end, they show you that there's two killers.
Yeah.
And then towards the end, like the big climax, when they're naming prom queen, and then it's Lori who wins, and then the killer is after her while she's on stage, it's only one killer.
Yeah.
So then you're going, I know there's another killer out there.
Yeah.
And if this is one killer, I know who the second killer is.
Sure.
If the dad is the one killer, then I know I've already seen a second killer. So obviously the second killer is the mom. So at that point, you're ahead of the movie and you're just waiting for the shoe to drop. Mm-hmm. And they think they're surprising you when they also reveal, oh, and Tiffany is also in on it, and she's going to kill Lori. But that's not a surprise. Like,
yeah, not really.
Because you want that character dead anyway.
Yeah.
Like you wanted her, like you just give the green light for her to get killed. That is all it is.
They try to set it up as like, oh, it's going to be one of those redemption things where it's like she's going to get her medicine is her having to admit that, oh, she was wrong, and Granger, what the fuck is her first name? Lori was the better person all along, and then she's able to like turn the other cheek type of thing. But they were laying it on so thick that within about 30 seconds, you're like, no, obviously the mom is in on it and Tiffany's in on it. Like This is
Right.
this is obvious. They're rolling over. They made them so supremely hateable that they're rolling over too easy.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, they roll over too easy to try and be sympathetic. And so that's why I think it would have been a lot better if they pay off the janitor and they don't show a second killer in the school.
Yeah.
It's just the janitor killing all the competition in the school. Then the janitor gets caught at the last moment and Laurie still wins, but the Falconers are like, oh, we'll take Laurie home and we'll care for her or whatever.
Yeah.
And then that's when you reveal we were paying him the whole time. And then Laurie has to fight the entire family and like has this, incredible brawl with all three members of the family through the house.
You know who I thought it was? I was actually holding out to hope that it was going to be, I thought it was going to be Spider, who was just the random like stoner dude who was like nice to Laurie once, but then also is like the kind of, I don't know. He seemed like the lighting guy or something at the prom.
Yeah.
So he was always just like hanging out in the wings, getting high. I always thought it was going to be like Spider, and it was going to be an unrequited love thing, Yeah. I will say, despite the just really weak story, and I would say the performances overall not bad. I will say my least favorite performance is probably Laurie. They just don't give her a lot to say. She does a lot of blank staring at people while she's like being talked to, and then just makes like dismissive facial expressions and like little pursed lips. That's pretty much all she does. She says like no sentence she says in the entire fucking movie is more than like 6 words. It's just they don't give her a lot to do. Whereas like the bad girl, like the wolf pack, like Tiffany especially, is, I thought, great. She really is great at creating this hateable, shitty, mean-spirited character. Megan was okay. I thought the shitty girls, that everybody hates, I thought that they were overall really good.
Yeah. Tiffany really channels fucking Judy from Sleepaway Camp.
Oh, big Judy energy. Hell yeah.
Big Judy energy.
Yeah.
But who's the other? I don't think I caught the character's name. But she's the one that's running around with the little lapdog boy, and they're handing out the flyers and they're like, vote for Tiffany.
Which one was she? Was she Linda?
I don't think it was Linda,
or was
but maybe
it
was.
Was it Melissa? Melissa's the wavy-haired, black-haired girl who kind of stands up to her at the end. But then ultimately, she has the falling out with her and she throws the drink on her at the end, and she has to take her dress off and she's in her little outfit. Like, yeah. I'm pretty sure that is Melissa.
That's Melissa.
That's Melissa. Yeah.
I think this other character I'm talking about is either Linda or Claire.
Oh, Claire. Yeah. Claire is the one who gets her leg chopped off at the end. It's like, you fucked
Claire.
up everything, Yeah.
Yeah.
Claire's
like Claire,
the suck up, try hard.
Yeah, she's such a little toady, and then she has her own other little toady.
Yeah.
In that creepy kid who's following her around. Yeah.
Yeah.
I like those two characters because they were they're so just like hench. Like they're just like little henchmen.
Yeah.
Like if you saw them on the street, you would whoop their ass for like talking to you wrong.
Yeah.
But because we're in high school, it makes sense that they're, So, and then, they both get dispatched in pretty horrific and amusing ways. So,
yeah, I mean, the general plot here is, once the scene is set for prom, that's two nights away. So everyone's gearing up for prom. You establish, the relationship everybody has, how everybody feels about Laurie, how Laurie's putting a lot of pressure on herself to win prom queen. Cause I don't know, it's going to show the world that the Grangers are worth something or something. I actually don't love the motivation of why the fuck Laurie wants to be prom queen. It doesn't seem
No.
I almost wondered if it was going to be some sort of like twist where Laurie's actually in on all the killings and Laurie's crazy. And that's why she wants to be prom queen. Because the whole thing, I'm like, why does Laurie even want this? And then you get this real. Honestly, the character has the most development is Tiffany. Tiffany, you see the parents being really over the top about the whole thing. The parents are like simultaneously like worship her and like tell her she's the greatest thing in the world, but also are like, you're useless if you're not pretty and don't win prom queen and you're not popular and stuff. Excuse me.
Yeah, if you're not first, you're last.
Yeah. Real Ricky
Bobby shit.
Yeah. They got real Ricky Bobby style of parenting. Her name, they do say it in the credits. Her name is Tiffany Walker, Texas Ranger Falconer. We get a somewhat surprising thing early on that kicks off the killing, which is the badass girl who you kind of thought she was being set up like she's going to help Laurie take down the wolf pack. She's the first one to get offed. And you keep seeing this yearbook that has the prom court in it and somebody's crossing off the faces in the yearbook. So she's the first one to go. We barely learned anything about her. We should say Laurie is also having a bit of a flirty situation with Tiffany's boyfriend, who couldn't be more forgettable. I don't even remember what his fucking name is. Tyler? Is it Tyler? Who cares? None of the boys are memorable at all.
Yeah.
Except for the one
Judd?
wolf pack. Yeah, Judd. He kind of rules. First of all, he gives a playlist to the DJ and says, if you stray from this playlist, he says something terrible he's going to do to him, but I forget.
He threatens to, I think he threatens to kill him multiple times.
Yeah. Yeah, he's a real piece of shit, but he's pretty funny. And then later on, he gets a real spontaneous kill too. Well, let me get back to what I was saying is a lot of these, there's really not very many memorable male characters at all. It's really about Tiffany versus Laurie, and then the other kind of Wolfpack characters just kind of come and go. So, everything's set up for this culmination on prom night. And they go, and Laurie's feeling really good. They call everybody up on stage, and the Wolfpack does this bit that is 100% the bit out of Mean Girls, where they come up on stage and do like a sexy, creepy dance on stage, but they're all wearing like American flag one-piece bathing suits.
Yeah.
And for some reason, everyone's just really eating it up, and that's like the beginning of the end for Laurie's, like, what she's kind of, her little bit of confidence that she had. During this scene, too, I have it on the background right now. There's a lot of threatening people via dance in this movie.
Yeah.
They break out of their little dance sequence to like have a little mini dance off or propose a little mini intimidation dance off with Laurie. And then later they do a full on announced dance off, which is the stupidest scene in the world. But this leads me to a question, because I didn't remember this about the first ones that much. I remember the first ones being just like, okay, well put together, high production value, mediocre slashers. I didn't remember any of the other ones really having that YA feel as much as this one does. This one feels like a horror version of Mean Girls. And it's it's much more comedic, it's much more silly. It has much more it has many more like R.L. Stine type beats where it's like something insane happened, chapter break, next page, just kidding. That wasn't real. Like, that's the most R.L. Stine thing you can do.
Yeah.
Is like, and then a werewolf came. Turn the page. It was just a mask. You know, he did that every book.
Right.
Okay, it's for little kids, right? And this one, like with the chop in the hand in this classroom, and then she pulled out her head, and you could just imagine how that was written. Turn the page. It was a fake cleaver the whole time. I don't remember that stuff as much in the first 3 movies. Am I misremembering that? Because I don't remember them being as YA corny as this one.
Yeah, I don't remember as many like comedic beats as well. Because there's some definite like pause for laughter type stuff in this.
Yeah. Like the guy keeps going, wowza.
Yeah. They set up a wowzer line twice.
Yeah.
And like once when they're doing, and this, I don't know, man, maybe it's just because I'm 40, but that scene didn't feel great to watch, where it's just a bunch of
high school girls doing sexy dances. Yeah.
Yeah. High school girls doing sexy dances in bathing suits. And then they cut to the balding principal going, wowzers. And it's like, ugh. Ew. It's like, yeah.
Well, they were setting him up as another red herring because he was kind of a perv.
Right.
Like he was a repressed perv. So they're like, oh, here's the weird churchy lady. Here's the repressed perv. Here's the unrequited best friend lover. Here's, you know what I mean? It's just like they're peppering in so fucking many.
Yeah. So they set that up and then they come back to it for a pure comedy moment where he loses his arm in the fight with the killer. And one of the students yells out, hey, principal, whatever his face is still alive. Well, here's your arm. And they drop his arm in front of him and he just goes, wowzers, and then passes out like, whoa.
Yeah, it's wild. The one thing I will say about this movie is they don't pull any punches as far as just like the gratuitous slasher violence.
Mm-hmm.
And they do some pretty cool stuff with it, honestly.
Mm-hmm.
A mix of practical and CGI stuff.
Yeah.
But it all feels pretty good, silly, but fun. I was on board when the redhead that we're talking about, which we couldn't remember what her name is in like the art studio with the boyfriend. And he's I guess he's really only like the second one to get it. Well, it's her. She gets her guts cut out,
mm-hmm.
which is like a pretty mediocre gut spilling scene. I've seen a lot better gut spilling scenes. But him getting both hands chopped off, I can't say I've ever seen this. This was a pretty creative scene where he gets both hands chopped off with the most terrifying piece of equipment in an entire school, which is, of course, the paper cutter. And I remember as kids, the paper cutter was off limits, and people treated the paper cutter like it was like a loaded automatic rifle. Like if you walked near a paper cutter, the teacher should be like, Jesus Christ, stay away from that. You know,
what are you doing? Don't look at it. Don't look at it.
Yeah. This kid gets his hands cut off with the paper cutter, both hands cut off with the paper cutter. And then during his attempted escape, runs to the door. The door isn't even locked, but he can't open it because he doesn't have any hands. So he's just like sliding stumps his wrists on it. I can't say I've ever seen that before.
No, that I was totally on board. Like, even though I had been checking out a lot, I got totally back on board. And like, that's the one thing this film, and I guess the series overall, is kind of good for. They're good for at least one or two like surprising, and this one's even a little silly, but like Mortal Kombat type kills.
Yes, Mortal Kombat for sure.
Yeah, because this is also the series that had that girl get put through the bread slicer, the deli slicer.
Yes, I completely forgot about that one. Yeah, that was a great one. The bread slicer and just chunks shot everywhere. And then, honestly, right after he gets both of his hands cut off, the face smash against the like shatterproof glass is really good too. It looks really good. The way it splinters, it looks very forceful and violent. Like, I thought it was an excellent job. We do have a couple other, ones that are obviously more like CG that are not amazing, but they come out of nowhere and also are a little bit funny. Like when what's his? I already forgot his name. The kid with the ponytail that
Judd.
That Judd. I want to call
Judd.
Bud the Judd. He is downstairs with his girlfriend, and he has stolen his like a necklace of his mom's. He gives it to her, and he thinks they're gonna bang in the basement, which is a thing that they do. And he's like, "Come on, baby, let's And all of a sudden, fucking circular saw to the face, or like it's like an angle grinder or something. I forget what it is, but like power tool to the face, sneak attack. And don't get me wrong, loved it. How are you going to sneak attack somebody with a power tool? That's fucking hard. That's tricky.
It has a spin up rate, and that's what they don't account for. You should have been able to hear the spin up, but you don't. It just comes and it's already running and it already goes through. So I don't know. Circular saw or side angle grinder, I forget, right to like the jaw, which was fun. I mean, overall, it's a lot of misdirect. It's a lot of, again, I can see it trying to do that American Giallo thing, right? Now that you said it, like the influence of movies like Alice, Sweet Alice, where you're setting up people who are going to get killed. You got to give them a reason for why you want them to die. That's just a very, very Giallo-y type of thing. I mean, modern slashers as well, American slashers, which were obviously in a lot of ways influenced by Giallo films. But I feel like this guy was a little bit more, I'd say, loyal to the subject matter in the sense that it's a YA novel. It felt closer to that. But in doing so, I didn't like it as much, I think it was closer to the YA stuff, and that it doesn't bother me as much when they're still doing like over the top violence. But overall, there was one, because it's Netflix, and we talked about this with the first 3 Fear Streets. There's a lot of fucking second screen time built into this.
Oh yeah.
And 2, there's just like some dumb shit that they say in the script, and the script doesn't make any sense, and it doesn't don't do that. One of them that like just nagged me forever was when Melissa is in the bathroom after she changes out and she's back in her bathing suit.
I know what you're gonna say. Yeah,
she's running around and like she gets confronted by one of the killers.
Yeah.
And at this point, we only think it's one killer. And then she goes to run out and is confronted with a second killer. And she says, "No, that's impossible."
Yeah.
How is that impossible? Because you're not in on the plan, stupid.
Yeah. So at first, when I saw that, I thought it was, oh, that's the little wink, wink, nod, nod to say that she was involved and she's getting cut off. She's a loose end that's getting cut off. You know what I mean? Because she's in on the murder plot. She's been talked into murder plots because she says earlier something about like, I know where the body. Well, not her.
No,
it's
that
the
was
other
another
friend
one.
says, I know where the bodies were buried. But I thought that would suggest that like, oh, the wolf pack has killed people before. That's what I thought that they meant. But then after the reveal later, and it became clear that like, no, it's the parents. I think the idea was the guy was right behind her. She opened another door, and now he's there. And she is too stupid to realize there's 2 killers. And the audience wants to hope that the director wants to think that the audience is too stupid to realize there's 2 killers at this point. So we're supposed to think that like, he teleported. How did he do that? Oh, wow, it's 2 killers. And it's like, I guess they could potentially like, are they just assuming that Gen Z hasn't seen Scream yet. Like, and two killers
Right.
is revolutionary.
Yeah, it just didn't make, I don't know, whatever that was trying to do, it didn't play. And I was like,
yeah,
whatever. Like, I don't, like, that's a terrible line. And
it was.
Should have changed it. Should have changed it.
I think they were trying to do a hey, we're nodding to something incredibly clever that we're going to do later. But obviously it was pretty hackneyed. I'll say the last 20 minutes, like, at least moved relatively quickly, but they like to do the whole, hey, twist, and then a twist after the twist type of thing. Mm-hmm. And you saw that coming for a long time. And especially when you're watching at home, you could see the runtime very easily. Like, I think it removes you from that a little bit. That said, the real climax to me, and the best part of the movie, was the run up to when you realize it is the dad, because he's lurking in the shadows the whole time, hanging out in the basement. They get like reveals when Megan and Laurie are in the basement and they start finding bodies simultaneously. Obviously, Laurie sees Tyler get killed. Mm-hmm. But they both learn about, hey, there's corpses at the same time. They run upstairs and they're like, oh, we're about to exit into the safety of this big giant group. And the killer just throws caution to the wind and chases them into the prom in full murderer regalia with an axe. And instead of going like, oh, I need to play it cool and slink into the shadows, he just starts hacking up kids, just hacking them up like they're firewood. The one redheaded girl that you were mentioning, she comes up and is like, hey, you're not supposed to be here, or something. He takes her leg off at the thigh. By the way, he treats this wood axe like it's a straight up medieval executioner's axe, like clean cutting limbs and heads off. Like,
I mean, it's more like a lightsaber the way he clean cuts a lot of these kids.
It is. Yeah. It's the sharpest and most accurate fucking axe swings of all time. And then there's another.
Is it a Hattori Hanzo steel?
Yeah. He turns after that and cleanly cuts off a kid's head, like straight up, just like it's spinning in the air. He cuts it so clean.
I was surprised they didn't cut to a second shot of it landing in the basketball hoop and then they have the buzzer go off.
Yeah, like that would not even been that far out of the realm of possibility here. And then they ultimately, of course, do the big reveal of who it is. Megan saves Laurie, then Laurie saves Megan, yada yada, whatever. Eventually, they all jump on top of Mr. Falconer, pull off the mask. Hey, look, that's him. The mom's acting very shocked. Tiffany's acting very shocked. And the dad gets stabbed in the eye with the prom. Laurie had just been named prom queen. But, of course, as she's being named, it's announced and everybody's going crazy. She runs in and is being actively chased by the killer, who starts hacking into people. So her moment is obviously, ruined, but she does use the prom queen tiara to stick him in the eye. But then he plays it super cool and doesn't out his wife and daughter. And it's just like, I know how much you wanted this. And he's literally talking like Christian Bale Batman, by the way.
Yeah.
And it's just like, oh, okay, I guess, So at that point, you don't necessarily know it's the mom, but you're like, oh, who else would it be, right? There's a second killer. Unless it's Tiffany. I kind of just thought it was Tiffany, but they're both so much taller. Mm-hmm. So after this watch, I was like, well, who's the other killer? And I'm like, oh, it's probably Tiffany. And I'm like, no, Tiffany is way too short. And then I'm like, oh, that's why they made the mom super tall.
Right.
So that's why, because they want them to be approximately the same height so you could confuse them when they're in their outfits. But the mom is like 6 foot tall at least. You know what I mean? She's as tall as, at least they make her out to be as tall as the dad, who's like a big guy. Anyway, so after that, it's Lori. I kind of mentioned, hey, we're gonna go. I'll ride with you. I'll ride back to your house. And then the part where they really obviously give it away is the mom is talking to the cop, and she's like, how long are we going to be done? And he's like, we got some more questions for you. And she's like, well, my daughter's at home. And she's like, no, the Granger girl, my daughter's at home alone. She shouldn't be alone at a time like this. And like the cops would just, after the dad was murdered in the scene, just send her home. You go wait at home by yourself. Yeah. Like, we'll figure this out. But she's like, no, the Granger girl's with her. And then that's when the mom's like, I got to go home, be with my kid or whatever. Cause she wants the Granger girl. She's got to, she's got to get back there to do the rest of the murdering. So they get back, and there's the reveal that the mom is in on it. And hey, I was fucking your daddy and your mama's a bitch and all this shit. And then Tiffany is like, let me do, they run into the closet. Tiffany, she's like, you gotta be quiet, because the mom's after her. And then Tiffany pulls out a little knife, goes after her. So they're in on it. Ultimately, she does a little, what do they call it when you're on your back? Like frog kick. She on your back, double foot frog kicks.
It's Tiffany, like a frog kick or a mule kick, and she just kicks her
over the balcony, and she lands on some sort of like spiky, I don't know, ornamental thing down at the bottom in the lobby. Rich people always have spiky
art
statues. Yeah.
That was very Argento, and I can't remember the name offhand. It might have even been part of Suspiria, but like that's a very Argento thing of like going over a banister and then landing on top of a spiky piece of art. And then there's another. It was very Halloween ends of them.
That too. I'm just kidding. They didn't land on art. I just imagine that kid falling, dying.
The kid just dumped his head. Just head first. It took a header into fucking rich people linoleum.
It's called marble, Steve.
Yeah, the rich people linoleum.
Rich people linoleum is called marble, Steve.
Yeah, no, I'm sure it is.
You don't even know what it's called. You call it rich people linoleum.
I call it what I call it.
Imagine Steve walking into a like a high end, like, flooring store. Hey, you got fucking rich people linoleum?
The kind that's made of rocks. Do you have any of it?
It's like linoleum, but it's made of rocks.
But it's hard. But also in that sequence, when it's very specific, and I don't know what the reference is, but I know it's a reference. I just can't remember it offhand. So this is audience homework, is to tell me what this is a reference to. When Lori is running out of one of the rooms and the mom's kind of there waiting for her with a knife.
Yeah.
Out of nowhere, it goes into slow-mo.
And she dives at her back.
Yeah, she dives at her back. And like, that's a very specific shot from a movie.
You're right.
I can't remember what it is. Because it's so weird.
Oh, man.
I mean, it's an obvious reference because there's no reason for that to go to slow-mo. I don't think they've used slow-mo at any other point in the movie.
Yeah. Is it the one with the, what's the freaking one? Movies. Let's look real fast.
Movies. Let's look at all of movies.
I just Googled movies. Yeah, I want to say it's a blind woman, and she's like, taken to this guy, whatever. But then when she goes back to her apartment, at one point there's like guys there to kill her. It's more of a thrillery type of movie, but there's guys that are there to kill her, and she can sense somebody's there, and she's trying to pretend that she doesn't know they're there so that they don't try to kill her.
Yeah.
Fuck, what's the name of that movie? I'll think of it.
Well, that's the homework.
Yeah.
So, yeah, there you go. I don't know. Maybe it's Cat o' Nine Tails, because there's a blind character in that, and it's also Deep Red. Maybe it's Deep Red. Who knows? We'll figure it out another day.
All right. Anyway, so she ends up kind of cutting Lori or whatever, but ultimately Lori jumps up, runs to the cat. It's like a trophy case, smashes through the glass, turns, and just brains her with the base of a trophy, which may or may not be made of rich people linoleum also. Just brains her with it. And I thought it was an interesting choice. I didn't dislike it. I don't think it 100% worked, but she brains her with it. The mom goes down immediately. And then the mom is like, almost like in her death throes, kind of, but she's clearly has like a massive head trauma. So she's kind of like rambling too.
Yeah.
But she's still like alert enough to like do class warfare on Lori. It's like, I don't know. It doesn't 100% work, but I liked her like still spitting venom at her, even with her like her brains goo,
Yeah. It's kind of hard when you've just given the person CTE to take anything personal of what they're saying, where they're just babble goobing and like, you Granger's never about the shit.
Yeah. Well, it's also like, I mean, I get it. She might have really clocked her good with the corner of this heavy trophy or something, but the reaction, it feels like she should have hit her a few times to get that type of symptom. I'm not a doctor, as I've said before, but she's acting like she just got hit in the fucking head by Frank Thomas with a baseball bat. You know what I mean?
Right.
Not just like happened to get hit in the corner of the head by a teenage girl with a fucking trophy,
Yeah. Even if like I would have even accepted her throwing the trophy as an extra, like even if she just threw it over her shoulder like a basketball hoop and then it just bonked her on top of the head again, I would have accepted that. But something feels very unsatisfying with the way both of the parents, who were the main killers, because Dan just gets arrested and the mom gets like a bonk on the head.
Yeah, she doesn't get her head collapsed. She doesn't go into a wood chipper or something. It does seem a little anticlimactic. I like the idea of somebody, she throws something and hits her in the head, like Home Alone 2 style with the brick. You hear that spinning noise of it. Thumps her in the head.
Because I like the idea of Lori not engaging again because she still only has a trophy in her hand and the mom still has a knife in her hand. So there's like that danger of like, she could still reach up and like, I'm gonna get you, there's still that kind of danger to it. So that's why I like the idea.
I was actually
of her,
surprised
like,
she didn't.
Yeah. Yeah. That's the other thing, is like, she didn't have like that one last gasp that all killers have.
Yeah.
So
especially a killer in a movie like this, you would expect. Then she just like walks out. She's like, you're nobody. And then she goes out on the porch. She's like, I'm prom queen, bitch. And then the credits roll. And I'm like, fuck, that was horrible.
I'm Lori fucking Granger. And then it should have just had somebody like down the street going, nobody cares. Shut up.
Shut up. It's midnight. Fucking got to get up in the morning.
Yeah. I got to work in 3 hours.
Yeah, it's a really shitty ending. But now I'm thinking about how this would have been way more fun if there were more Home Alone style kills.
Yeah, that's why again they should have paid the janitor, so we have 3 killers at the end of the film, so they can have all the more Home Alone stunts to go through the house and drop people on rich linoleum.
You know what though? Bud the Chud's girlfriend she essentially gets the same treatment that Marv got down in the laundry room in Home Alone 2 when he gets turned into a skeleton.
Yeah. Kind of bullshit. We don't see her skeleton.
Yeah. How are we not going to see that bitch's skeleton? I'm trying to see that bitch's skeleton. Hell yeah. Like, I'm really horny to see bones. Like, that's
wowzers.
Wowzer. Ooh, she got a nice ass skeleton. Anyway, yeah. Overall, in summation, super mediocre.
Mm-hmm.
But you know what? Perfectly fine, entertaining, exactly what I'm expecting from a Netflix YA slasher in every sense of the word, with slightly above average fun violence.
Yeah. Yeah. It's like it's the only reason why you look up from your phone. Like, yeah. There's a bunch of dialogue that happens. There's a bunch of dialogue that gets repeated that just doesn't matter, doesn't add, doesn't do anything. Like, it's just a thing that, like, oh, it feels like, oh, we're stuck in this space for 5 minutes. Let's say things until we can move on. Like, they're just waiting for the counter to pass until the next scene happens. And, like, the actors see the clock on the wall. They're like, okay, we have to improv we have to act for 5 minutes, and then we get to escape this room and go to the next one.
There is a scene, I mentioned part of it, that is 100% makes no sense, is a complete filler. And it looks like they wrote it into the script that day and shot it. Is after Lori had just, Tiffany had just like really gave her the business in, like, they were in like a back room area, remember? And she was like really leaning in on her with her mom. And she was like, that's when she first had the little, you know, bit of the beginning of the falling out with the curly haired, black haired friend, Melissa. And she goes into the bathroom and her makeup's all running and she's like, wow, my night's ruined kind of thing. Melissa comes in, gives her makeup, and then there's a needle drop, and I don't remember what it is, but it's something like
Eurythmics.
Really, yes, Sweet Dreams by the Eurythmics, and which is like, okay, fine. But then the subsequent scene is so dumb. She redoes her makeup, but she does it in a slightly theatrical way. Like it would not even remotely be something you would look twice at. If you were just walking down the street and you saw someone with this makeup, it would not strike you as inappropriate for work. Like, it is just a regular, like, kind of elongated, like, eyeshadow look. Yeah, right.
This is my note. Cat eye makeup is going Super Saiyan for women.
It is. It's like this very just modest cat eye type of look, and for some reason, it cues a fucking needle drop, and she goes straight up Super Saiyan, and then she goes out, and then Tiffany starts coming on hard. Tiffany throws the drink on Melissa. Now, cat's out of the bag. Shit's getting real, right? And the DJ goes like, dance off, motherfucking dance off. And then they go to have a dance off. And Tiffany starts doing these wacky ass dance moves, but like late 80s, whatever stuff. And for some reason, Lori starts doing these like weird, sexy ballerina-y, like, It's the cringiest dance I've ever seen in my life. And everyone's acting like it's not. And I mean, part of it's supposed to look like Tiffany is blowing it because she's really losing her grip on the situation. She starts doing like wild punching dances and stuff like that. And everyone's kind of like, ooh, Tiffany, the fuck?
Yuck.
Meanwhile, Lori's doing even cringier stuff. Lori is doing like girl having her first like mushroom experience at Coachella dance.
Yeah, she's doing a whole lot of shoulder roll and fish dancing in the aisles of fish type bullshit.
Yes, and it's like, what the fuck is happening? this whole sequence is just a time filler. Yeah. And I can't believe they left it in the movie.
It doesn't make a whole lot of sense. Upon reflection, it didn't make sense to me at the time, but I think upon reflection, the idea was that Tiffany got drunk off the spiked punch, and that's why she couldn't dance at that point. But
what's Laurie's excuse?
Exactly. Yeah, it's like, but the other thing is we already saw Tiffany do a choreographed dance, and then she tries to bring those moves back to this dance off. And what it really feels like is you're watching Guitar Hero when people played head to head, and Tiffany is just hitting the doink notes, like she's just missing it, and it's just going bink plonk, ping plonk, ping plonk, and then the crowd is like, boo, boo,
fuck you.
Yeah. And then Laurie's on easy mode, just doing shoulder rolls, going, oh yeah, I'm winning it. I'm killing it.
She's just doing more than a feeling over there on easy mode. Oh my God. Yeah. That's it. That is perfect description. Doink, boink, bonk, boink.
Bing plonk.
Yeah. Boo.
We hate you now, Tiffany. We loved your dance before, but now you suck.
Tiffany, you made us think that you were good at dancing. What happened?
Get new material.
Oh man. Yeah, it's a fucking pitiful sequence. All right, I'm now watching. Yeah, I'm watching for the second time the sequence that you were talking about where Melissa gets it in the locker room and she sees both of the killers. And it's more clear now what they were going for, but it's also really poorly executed. She runs around a corner, throws a trash can down because the killer is on her heels. But the trash can thing kind of works. So she gets to the door first. And when she opens the door, he's on the other side of the door. And of course, she's too stupid to realize there's a second killer. She just goes, instead of going, how, what? She stops, backs up, doesn't look behind her.
Yeah.
Is almost backing into the other killer and goes, that's not possible.
Yeah.
And so it reads, and maybe this was their intention, but it's reading like, oh, is she in on it? But in reality, we're supposed to assume, in retrospect, I guess, we're supposed to assume that she just was tricked by the physical presence of him in a different spot, but didn't turn around to go, what happened to the guy behind me?
In the reality, Melissa just has the object permanence of a baby and can't imagine that there's two people.
I thought you didn't exist anymore. No, but it would have made more sense if she turned around to run again, saw them both simultaneously and went, what? That's what, huh? Yeah. But no, she doesn't. She just looks at the second one, says that's, yeah. So, but that's it. That's, I don't know. That's the fucking movie. Is there anything else I forgot? I feel like I hit the main discussion points I had.
Yeah, no, you got everything I had notes on. The only thing that fucking got me is, again, just back to Judd threatening that kid to fucking fight him. And the whole thing is Judd has curated this playlist, and that playlist includes Cruel Summer by Bananarama and a whole bunch of other like kind of girly music. It is not something you would expect Judd to curate.
No, I was like Judd's playlist kind of rips. Like, I love fucking Cruel Summer. Like, come on.
Yeah,
like, he's actually playing fucking he's playing fucking jams. But when you look at Judd, you think it's just gonna be like tier
yacht
1
rock.
Pantera songs. Or just like, weightlifting, 80s jock weightlifting songs, which is a little early for that. But you get what I mean? Like, I just thought it was going to be like fucking Van Halen and just like only like speed metal shit that he does like coke and like lifts weights with his buddies. But yeah, it's like, what are you afraid the other guy's going to play? You know what I mean?
Exactly. Which, after Judd gets it, there's still needle drops, obviously. And the Eurythmics isn't that, Sweet Dreams is not that different from Cruel Summer. I put them kind of in the same category.
100%.
I like to use, I like to listen to. So like, yeah, what is Judd against?
Let's do a real quick rundown of the needle drops in this movie, because there's so fucking many of them.
Sure. While you try to find that, Dan did want to point out that for all of the 80s-ness of this movie, only one character had an 80s hairdo. It's like
that's fair enough. Yeah.
Nobody really looks like they're in the 80s in this movie. Nothing really looks like it's in the 80s. They put on like a shitty video filter when we see things through a video camera. They put on a shitty 35 millimeter filter when we're for the rest of the movie. And yeah, it's mostly just the needle drops that are carrying the 80s-ness about it.
Yeah, I'm looking through here. We got a band, which I swear they've come up before. A band called Power Glove.
Yeah, so Power Glove,
they write music apparently for a lot of like horror and sci-fi and video games.
Yeah, they're not. I think I've even seen them in concert. They're not an actual 80s band. They just they do sound like shit.
Yeah, they're I was gonna say they did movies or songs for the new Devil May Cry, that movie, or is it an anime? Isn't it an anime that's on Netflix?
It could be the anime that they did.
Hobo with a shotgun as well, but ABCs of Death. Yeah, they just do things that sound like 80s. Are You Ready? Henry Wilson in the Blues Note, Teenage Confession. Let me see. There's bigger ones. Oh, yeah, it's a White Wedding by Billy Idol. That's a big one. You got Another Thing Coming by Judas Priest. Never Gonna Give You Up by Rick Astley. Let's look. What else? Cruel Summer by Bananarama.
Yeah, The Look by Roxette, which like both of those, both Bananarama and Roxette are on Judd's playlist. Mm-hmm. And
I think We're Alone Now by Tiffany.
Mm-hmm.
Self-Control, like Laura Branigan. Yeah, Duran. And that was the interesting one where like everyone went nuts. Like all the kids went nuts when Hungry Like a Wolf played.
Yeah.
All right, fine.
Well, I think it's because their mascot in the school is a wolf, so that's why they go nuts for it.
So here's what I kind of thought, because I did find this kind of interesting, is because these are all the ones that Judd wanted to listen to. These are radio songs, right?
Yeah.
But then White Lines comes on, like Grandmaster Flash and Mellow Mel, which is a fucking jam. It's actually one of my... I love White Lines. It was on the Thrasher Skate and Destroy soundtrack. I listened to that song 100,000 times. That's what the DJ wanted to play. Because he was didn't he say like it was like Funk Master or something on his podium? So he wanted to play more like hip hop, kind of like old school MC dance hall stuff. And then the jocks were like, no, we're just playing fucking radio hits. I forgot about that version of Gloria by Laura Branigan, actually, until I heard it on here. I hadn't heard that in a long time. Yeah, so you get it. A lot of 80s pin drops, and honestly, or needle drops, and also I don't know. I didn't hate it. It's gratuitous, but it makes more sense because they're out of school dance. Like, right. I feel like when that happened in some of the other ones in the series, we were just like, good Lord, how many more times can we hear a needle drop while kids are riding their bikes? You know what I mean? Like, it's just getting over the top, but they're out of school dance. It makes sense. It's totally appropriate for the scene, even though like, the other Fear Street movies, I think were pretty needle drop heavy. Mm-hmm. And I guess just a lot of this is me comparing this not to Fear Street, but to Stranger Things, because Stranger Things is so full of doing faux 80s and doing needle drops. And it's just like, all right. Yeah, I think it's just that stuff wore out its welcome a while ago. I think the 80s, as much as I love that shit, like the 80s, glorified 80s neon day glow stuff, which is not even really you know, I don't know. It obviously the kids that are watching this weren't alive. You know what I mean? They weren't alive for 20 fucking years until after this stuff was over. So it's just like they're just looking for a general aesthetic thing. But I feel like horror movies set in the 80s are about where the zombie subgenre was 10 years ago. Yeah. Where it's just like, guys, we're done. We need to give it a rest for a minute. Yeah, we got to let it recharge its batteries.
Move it along. Just find something else. Especially like that TV show that came out, Satanic Panic, I think did a better job at like representing the 80s because it downplayed it a little more. It was more suburban. Things were a little more brown. And you know, when you watch other movies like The House of the Devil, that movie is so much better at conveying the vibe than, and I think that one's supposed to be like early 90s, not necessarily 80s.
House of the Devil? I thought that was like late 70s. Late 70s, early 80s.
Maybe it's late 70s, early 80s. I think I was thinking it like it's a cusp type film, but
yeah, sure.
Either way, it still does a better job at doing the
it's not the commercial, hey, like TV commercial version of the 80s. It's like more of a lived in version.
1983 is when it's set.
83. Yeah. So it's more of a lived in version. It's a less glamorous version. And also Tom Noonan. So it's immediately better.
It's a second podcast in a row we're talking about Tom Noonan.
Big Tom Noonan guy, big Just Friends guy.
Yeah, that's it. I don't got anything else on this movie. Watch it or don't. I don't give a shit. Go fuck yourself.
Watch it or don't. I don't give a shit. Go fuck yourself. That could not have said it better myself. There's a lot of better things to watch, but if you just happen to have, only Netflix at your disposal at a given time, you put it on. You can kill an hour and a half with it.
Yeah, it's new. Yeah, I'm not going to shame anybody who can't afford more than one streaming service. So if all you have is Netflix, then go ahead and gobble up Netflix's new thing for you.
Although Tubi is free.
Tubi is free.
Don't forget.
And VPNs are only $80 a year. So
that's true.
Figure it out.
Spread that out over a year. All right. Let me remind you once again, if you have not already, excuse me, I had the hiccups, start checking out some Korean horror movies on account of we're going to talk about them in next week for our June showdown. We're going to talk about Thirst from 2009. We're going to talk about Save the Green Planet from 2003. And then we have not confirmed 100% what our last movie is going to be. But if I had to guess, the patrons over on the Patreon we'll discuss it. It seems like an early leader might be Tale of Two Sisters from also 2003, maybe. Korean horror next time.
Next time.
I was going to say next time on Captain Planet. Next time, Korean horror. It's going to be a lot of fun. And then, holy shit, guys. You know what happens after June, right? July, you guessed it. July. Let's start talking about July 4th horror. Let's start talking about some summer vibe type of horror, right? I don't know if Steve, if you share the same tendency. I tend to have how shall I put this? More bandwidth for garbage in the summertime than I do in the winter. In the colder months, certainly when Halloween hits, like prime viewing season, you got to get all the classics in. I'm watching all the movies you would expect to watch around Halloween time, right? Then right into Christmas season, I'm a huge Christmas horror fan, so I got to get all the ones in that I'm going to expect to watch. And then after that, you're a little burned out, so you're looking for like hidden gems type of stuff. The spring, early spring, late winter fucking blows. So I'm looking to watch good movies. I'm looking to watch high quality films. Like I've been on this Michael Mann kick lately. I've been watching fucking award nominated movies. It's starting to get warm out. It's summertime's right around the corner. Give me some fucking trash. Give me some
Give
fucking
you the garbage.
garb. Give me the garbaggio. That's what I'm looking for the summer, and that's what I'm looking to watch in June and July. So if you have some great summer fucking trash, slide into the DMs on Instagram. Slide in over on the threads or wherever the hell you're going to find us on the Facebooks, and provide us some suggestions, because I'd like to do some of those for our showdown. I'm sorry, for our minisodes rather.
Yeah.
So
I got one.
Okay.
I've been holding it in my vault of punishment films because it stars somebody you don't like, and I don't know. Right. And the movie's never come up, so I don't know that you have ever seen it. So I've been waiting to just unleash it on you, but maybe I'll just say, hey, we're going to do this one day in July. And
all right. I like that. Can you tell me who the person that I don't like that's in it?
Nah, because you'll just be able to find it. I don't want you to find it.
Okay, all right. Fair enough.
You'll just be able to find it.
All right.
But it is a very summer vibe movie, though. So
okay.
Yeah.
Well, this is one I'll throw out there as well. This is not a summer vibe movie, but I watched this recently and I was just like, motherfuck, this is the exact type of hidden gem that I'm looking for in, this is early May, mid-May when I watched it. This was just like a week or so ago. And it was like fucking 40 degrees and it's mid-May and I'm just pissed off. You know what I mean? and I watched from 1981, Southern Comfort.
Yeah.
Holy fuck, was that fun. Holy fuck. Such a fun movie. Such a great cast. If you like Deliverance, it's definitely got some Deliverance vibes. If you like a gator bait, it's got that. It's a little less exploitation-y.
Yeah.
It's a lot less exploitation-y than gator bait, but it has that backwoods killer hillbilly bayou type of vibe.
Yeah, the bayou.
Got that bayou vibe. But holy shit, Southern Comfort. It's on Shudder right now. It's streaming a lot of places. I can't believe I've never seen this movie before. I never even heard of this movie before. I had a fucking blast with it. So that's a hidden gem that I've uncovered recently. That and let me reiterate, that's not what I want to hear from you about. I want to hear the hidden garbage. I want to dig 10 feet deep and find a turd and polish it and go, well, maybe there's a diamond in it. Nope, it's turd the whole way through.
Nope, all the way turd.
Yeah.
Let me brush away this turd. Oh, it's still more turd.
Oh, no, it's still more turd. All right. Anything else before we wrap this sumbitch up?
That's it.
Well, thanks for joining us once again. Join us next week for Korean Horror Showdown. That's going to be a lot of fun. In the meantime, for the Halloween is Forever crew, I'm Brian.
And I'm Reggie, because everything's mid.
Mid.
Smoking that Reggie.
All right, bye.